You think you know this story. A father, a son, a mountain, a knife. But here is what nobody tells you about Genesis 22. This is not a story about sacrifice. It is a story about a man who was asked to do something so extreme, so psychologically devastating, that by any modern measure, we would call it madness. And he did it anyway. Before we go to the mountain, we need to understand exactly what God asked and why it was an impossible contradiction. Isaac was not simply Abraham's son. He was the fulfillment of a 25-year promise. Abraham waited 100 years for this child. The God who made the promise is the same God making this demand. If Isaac dies, the promise dies. There is no logical way through this. And this is precisely the point. Hebrews 11:19 tells us how Abraham resolved it. He concluded that if God made the promise, God would have to raise Isaac from the dead to keep it. He walked up that mountain, fully expecting to come down with his son. But most retellings skip the 3 days. Genesis 22:4 says Abraham saw the place on the third day, 3 days of walking with his son, Isaac carrying the wood, Abraham carrying the knife. Every meal, every campfire, every time his son looked at him and smiled. 3 days of knowing and saying nothing. The text records no breakdown, just they rose early in the morning and they walked. Then halfway up the mountain, Isaac asks a question. The fire and the wood are here, but where is the lamb for the burnt offering? And Abraham answers, God himself will provide the lamb, my son. For 4,000 years, people have read this as a father, hiding the truth from his son. But read it through Hebrews 11. Abraham is not lying. He is telling Isaac exactly what he believes will happen. And then they keep walking. They reach the summit. Abraham builds the altar, arranges the wood, binds his son, places him on the altar, and raises the knife. Genesis 22:11. The angel of the Lord calls out from heaven, Abraham, Abraham, do not lay your hand on the boy. The knife is raised. His hand is moving. The angel stops him at the last possible second, not a moment before, because the test was never about whether Isaac would die. It was about whether Abraham would withhold anything from God. Abraham names the place Yahweh Yireh. The Lord will provide. The same answer he gave Isaac on the way up. It was not a deflection. It was a prophecy. But here is the detail at the end of Genesis 22 that almost nobody mentions. Genesis 23 opens with 6 words. Sarah lived to be 127 years old. Past tense. She is already dead. The rabbinical tradition holds that Sarah died when she heard what had happened on that mountain. That learning how close she came to losing Isaac broke her. The text never confirms this. It does not need to. What it tells us is that Sarah, the woman who waited 90 years for this son, is never mentioned again after Genesis 22. The mountain cost something. Abraham did not understand how the promise would survive. He simply decided that if God made the promise, God would keep it. Even if keeping it required something that had never been done before. That is what 4,000 years of people have called faith. And it has never looked easy.